before your time. Then once you are past 35 to 40, depending on your family history and so on, it's important to begin to be a bit more alert with your health, because sometimes several problems become more evident or begin breast cancer and so on. Then you should begin to be more or genetic wants to start. Okay, speed is very important to be able to get ahead of certain things. Okay, so you get ahead of the battle with your health and you're likely to get a better outcome in the end. We screen for things like breast cancers, prostate cancers, and then again we screen for things like just simple anemia. Okay, because anemia in the urine, is it just a benign thing like piles or like a urine tract infection that is easily treatable and that won't give long-term complications? Or is it suggesting kidney disease? Is it suggesting more sinister diseases of the intestines that we need to investigate? Okay, so at that time we begin to do more tests than you would do when you're, say, a teenager, 20-year-old. I started work, I just want to check on myself. And when you're younger, you can do this every 2 years. You may not need to do it every single year. You know, and even between 35 and 40, you can do these things every other year. Then from 40, we recommend more of an annual checkup for early detection.
All right. The number, remember, is 0279-100600. That's 0279-100-600. We're talking today about your general health, and we'll be zooming in on hypertension. Okay.
Yes. So, right. So, general health, I'd just like to run through some of the checks that we like you to do. So, in your 40s and above, it's important. Men should get a prostate blood screen every year to two. Okay, women should have an annual breast check with their doctor every year. Okay, and they should do the self breast exam every month. Then there are some blood tests we like to do as well. So we'll check, like I said, your hemoglobin level, make sure you're not anemic. Sometimes we'll check your urine because we might find blood in your urine. We might find a urine tract infection which was silently there and so on. Then sometimes we find things called casts and so on, which can suggest kidney diseases. So the simple test can also tell us a lot. Then sometimes we go into more complicated things like your kidney function, your liver function. I think I've mentioned the prostate already. And then your cholesterol and sugars, also very important. Okay. And important to do every single year, and especially if you have a family history of these conditions. Right. Now, the reason for this, I think I've said, I don't want to belabor it, but it is to catch things early and get the best outcome for treatment. Okay. Right. Going forward, I think I will leave this. hypertension is hypertension for whose cause we do not know. It's just that as you age or as you grow, your BP begins to creep up, and at a point it crosses the limit of 140 on top and 90 below, which we call hypertension. Okay. And the only way you can know that you're hypertensive is if we check it. If a health personnel checks it. Okay. But that's not so true in modern medicine, because there are self-check blood pressure monitors, which you can buy and have at home and check periodically. So if you're diagnosed with hypertension, we sometimes will encourage you to have that, or to have a place near your home where you can periodically check your hypertension. So back to the reasons why a person may develop hypertension. 90% of the time we don't know, and we call it essential hypertension. But the factors which may lead you to that is increasing age. Men tend to be hypertensive more than women. Obesity or a lot of weight can predispose you to hypertension. A high salt intake can predispose you to hypertension, and a family history of hypertension also can predispose you. So if other members of your family have hypertension, then it's important that periodically you check. So you walk into a pharmacy to buy medicine, just have them check your BP and tell you it's okay, even tell you the numbers. Most smartphones can keep a health log for you. So when you visit your doctor once a year, show him your health log and say, this is what my BPs have been. Am I okay? And then he can counsel you accordingly. A high fat diet can also predispose you. High fat diet can go through high cholesterol, line your blood vessels, and make you more prone to hypertension. Now, having said these things that are associated, other things are, like I said, high cholesterol, diabetes are often associated with hypertension. Kidney disease tends to be associated with hypertension. So these are the reasons why a person out of the blue may have hypertension. Now, if your hypertension is caused by another problem, for instance, thyroid disease or kidney disease, then in medicine we call it secondary hypertension. It means that we know why you are hypertensive. So treating the initial disease will usually lower the BP and bring you back to normal tension or normal blood pressures. Right. Now, I mentioned the definition of hypertension as I was speaking, but you have hypertension when your blood pressure has been 140 and above over 90 and above, more than 3 checks. Usually no medical person will check your BP once, find it high and say bang, you're hypertensive. No, we'll check it 1 or 2 or 3 times, and those 3 consistently high values mean that you're hypertensive. But if you've ever had anybody say to you your BP is high, and then maybe they check it again after waiting about 10 minutes for you to rest, it becomes normal. If you've had that once or twice, then you should become mindful of the blood pressures and check it periodically to make sure that it's not creeping up to surprise you later on.
Right. I think we can look at a few questions that have come in. The number, by the way, is 0279-100-600, 0279-100-600. If you have any questions, you can send them through to that number. This one says, good morning, Kweku. Nice to have you all back. Thank you. Please, my mother is hypertensive. Anything to look out for?
Right.
Not sure what you mean by anything to look out for.
Well, because I said there may be complications. So, mainly it's a blood pressure checks. Make sure that she checks her blood pressure, let's say just once a week. If she's, let me put it this way, when a person is first diagnosed with hypertension, we like to check your blood pressures frequently. First is to confirm that this is hypertension. Sometimes you come to the clinic, we check your blood pressure, you've come in with maybe malaria, but we check your blood pressure and it's high. So We note it down. We ask you, are you hypertensive? You say, no, I've never had this high blood pressure region.
Okay.
We make you wait and rest about 10 minutes or so and check it again. Let's say that second time it's normal. So we are reassured. But we would still like you to check it periodically. Sometimes we'll even give you a sheet to keep a blood pressure log for us. Check it every day or every other day. Come back in, let's say, 2 weeks, and let's see.
Okay.
If at home the blood pressures have been okay, then it's fine. We'll reassure you. You go away, maybe check it once a month periodically, so they're picking up.
Okay.
But if we check 2 or 3 times and it is high, then we will say that yes, you have developed hypertension. We need to manage it.
Okay.
At this point, usually your health personnel will make sure that we want to check that your cholesterol is okay. Want to check that your blood sugar is okay. Want to make sure that your kidneys are okay. Usually these basic checks. Okay, so that we are sure that it's not a secondary hypertension, and we make sure that you don't have what we call comorbidities. Morbidity is mainly sickness or unwellness in the body.
Okay.
So hypertension is a morbidity. Diabetes, high cholesterol will be comorbidities.
Okay.
And if they are there, then we need to be more circumspect with our treatment to make sure that they don't sort of gang up on you and make your problems worse.
Okay.
So
that mental picture was funny. Okay, are you done? Or
I
come
think
with the
I'm done.
next
So yes, for your mother, make sure these things have been done, and then beyond then, if it's early in the diagnosis, your doctor will want to see her more frequently to make sure that whatever medicines she has been given are working, are not giving her side effects, and it's controlling the BP well. So they'll probably see you once a month for a few months, and then after a while they'll see you every 3 months. And if she's been hypertensive for a long time, seeing her doctor twice a year may be enough. Usually we'll make it every 3 months, but at a point your doctor may say twice a year is enough for you to come to the clinic.
Okay, wonderful. This one is from Frida. Frida says, good morning, please can you please talk a bit more about the numbers when it comes to the measurements?
Okay.
The 2 numbers, what are they supposed to be?
Fantastic. Okay. So the
Systolic and diastolic blood pressure.
Thank you very much.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, yes.
I've done this for a while. I've learned a few things.
Okay. So the top number is the systolic blood pressure, and the bottom one is the diastolic blood pressure.
Okay.
If you have a blood pressure machine, it will usually give you 3 numbers, and the third number, more at the bottom or to the right side, is the pulse, how fast your heart beats. Okay. So your heart receives blood from the veins and pumps blood into the arteries. Okay, so it pumps blood into the arteries. Blood is distributed all over the body. It takes nutrients, takes oxygen, it's used up. Then the depleted blood comes back through the veins and goes back into the heart. Okay, so just as a picture, the blood enters the heart at the top. Okay, there are 4 chambers, 2 on top. So the 2 atria receive the blood and push it into the ventricles.
Okay.
The ventricles are the big pumps. Okay, so once the blood gets into the ventricles, it receives the blood, and that is when it is receiving the blood, that is the diastolic pressure. Okay, so it has to relax for blood to enter it, and therefore the pressure at that time is lower. Okay. Then after it's received enough blood, it closes the valve and now is able to pump hard and push the blood into the aorta and into the arteries, and it pushes with enough force to get it all over your body, even to the little toes. Okay. Now this is the systolic pressure, when that blood has just been pushed in and the system is full of blood. Okay, so blood pushes in and that's systolic. Then it sort of goes back to fill up the heart again, and that's the diastolic pressure when the heart is relaxed. Right, and both are very important, and both should be at the level that they should be. So the systolic blood pressure should be less than 140 millimeters of mercury. That's the units. And the diastolic, the lower one, should be less than 90, millimeters of mercury.
Okay.
Now that's the goal blood pressure. So whatever your BP is, that's the goal that your doctor is trying to achieve.
Okay.
So you may have reached 145, you were at 165, and you are at 145. That's very good, but the goal is less than 140.
Okay.
So your doctor may still tweak your medicines, encourage you to reduce salt, lose weight, do some exercise, do different things. We really want those last few numbers to fall below 140.
Okay.
Sometimes at the extremes of age, we are a bit more lenient with the blood pressure, so as not to give too much medicine and so as to avoid lowering the blood pressure too much and causing dizziness. Okay. So sometimes very much older people, maybe we may accept slightly higher blood pressures, but this is not the 60s. And sometimes not even generally we prefer to get to goal because the outcomes are better when your blood pressures are at the goal.
Okay.
Now, if you have comorbidities, I explained that comorbidities are having blood pressure, diabetes or cholesterol or maybe kidney disease in addition to your high blood pressure, then we may give you a lower goal blood pressure. Okay. So we may want you to not be higher than 135 and your diastolic not to be higher than 80. So you should accept what your doctor says is your goal and work towards that.
Okay.
Now, once you've been diagnosed, so we've explained what the figures are.
Yes.
And once you've been diagnosed with high blood pressure, your doctor will also be interested in your lifestyle. And in fact, will be interested in that first. So if your blood pressure is just above the normal and you are otherwise very fit, lifestyle changes may be recommended first. Okay, so lower your salt intake, start an exercise regime, do more vegetables, drink more water, avoid the fatty foods, avoid tea and caffeine and other things that may increase your heart rate, okay, and increase your blood pressure a bit more. And then yes, I think I've said all of those things that you need to do. And reduce stress if your stress levels are very high, because that can increase your blood pressure. However, that is not the most usual cause for high blood pressure. Okay, so don't listen to people who will check your blood pressure and say, why? What are you thinking about? Stop thinking. Usually high blood pressure is not just caused by thinking. And if it is high enough, it should be managed with medicines. Okay. And also, please don't bargain with your doctor on and on and on for too long. Otherwise, by the time you're accepting the medication, you may have what we call end organ damage. That is when the high blood pressure has caused damage to your brain, your kidneys, your eyes, and different parts of your body. So if your doctor keeps insisting on on blood pressure medicine or on any medicine for that matter which treats chronic diseases, it's important to acquire quickly, to comply quickly, so that you can get the best outcomes. It is, you can make a point. Sometimes you know that you have done the wrong things. You stayed up late too much, you had exams, you had deadlines, you've been staying up late, you've been drinking too much coffee, not sleeping enough, eating very badly, for the past 3 months. So this may be contributing to the high blood pressure. You can discuss that with your doctor. He may ask the dietitian to work with you. He may work with you to reduce your stress levels. And he will probably give you a blood pressure profile, or request that you check your blood pressures every day, sometimes twice a day, so we are sure. If the values are too high though, the risk is too great, and so your doctor might insist that I have to start medicines now, today. And if your doctor is insisting like that, usually there's a good reason. So you should go along with it.
Wonderful. The number is 079-100-600. That's 079-100-600. This one's from Fosti. Fosti says, hi, good day. I know my question is not today's topic for discussion, but please, why is menstrual cramp so painful?
Sorry. It's because the uterus is trying to expel what is there. Yes, because the menstrual cramp is the the menses is the shedding of the lining of the uterus,
Right.
plus some bleeding. And sometimes as the uterus recognizes a foreign something in there, it tries to push it out, and that can cause the cramps.
Right.
You should see, the way you're describing it, I think you should see your doctor, your GP, ask to see a gynecologist. Let's see what can be done about it.
Okay. But it differs from person to person, right? Not
It's different
everybody has
some people have nothing at all, just have their period
Yeah.
and feel normal.
And is
But
there
some
any
people
known
can have.
reason why?
Yes, that's why you should see a gynecologist. Some people have fibroids. It can make periods particularly painful.
Okay. That's
That's
nice
almost a tongue
alliteration. PPP.
Yes. Then some people have, that's less common, especially in our part of the world, but you could have endometriosis, and that can also cause very painful periods.
Okay.
And you should see a gynecologist earlier for those. Okay. Right.
I think we have a few more questions. This one
Okay.
says, "Good morning. Please, in treating hypertension, what are some of the things you need to avoid eating?"
Avoid eating very fatty foods. Avoid eating high amounts of salt or salty foods, whether it's salt or monosodium glutamate. All those things contain more sodium, and that puts pressure on the kidneys to excrete more sodium, and it worsens the hypertension.
Okay. So salty foods, fatty foods.
Yes.
Okay. All right. This one says, "Good morning. Please, is it possible to have hypertension without diabetes?"
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And you can have diabetes without hypertension as well.
Okay. All right. Great. The question makes sense because usually they go together, right?
Yes.
People who are diabetic
Tend to have hypertension as well.
What's the correlation though?
In a sense, none, but diabetes affects your blood vessels.
Okay.
It can give you what we call microvascular disease. So your small blood vessels may not work as well as they should.
Oh.
And even also some of your bigger blood vessels may not work as well. And once the vessels lose their elasticity to some extent, more pressure is needed to pump the blood through. Okay. That's one thing. The second thing is that the same risk factors cause hypertension and diabetes.
Okay.
So what you're doing to make you get hypertension can make you get diabetes as well.
Okay. All right, great. This one says, "Anna from Newton, my blood pressure is 130/90. Is it normal, please?"
Yes, it's normal. The 90 is at the borderline of normal.
Right.
So you're somebody who should probably check your blood pressure at least every month.
Okay.
And let's make sure that it stays there.
So it's possible to have one of the figures in the normal range and the other not?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
And again, if it's consistent, it needs to be treated.
Okay. All right. So in a situation like that, I'm just wondering, is there other things to do to lower just the one number?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, well, no, the same thing will lower both numbers.
Okay.
Either or both.
Okay.
And I was going to say that, in fact, when you started the question, I was going to say, I thought you were going to ask if lifestyle changes could reduce the small increases in blood pressure.
Okay.
And that can happen.
Okay.
So if it's just maybe 144/91, okay, especially if you know that your lifestyle has been poor health-wise, you can make the adjustments, and it can normalize your blood pressure.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
But that should be done under supervision, so we are sure that it's coming down and not creeping up on us.
All right. This one says, "Quick, what a post-festivity topic, though." Anyway, fasting will help, or
it will help. It will help. By the time you finish your fast, your lifestyle is proper. Try and walk up and down as you pray.
Yes. Wonderful. Okay, the number again is 827-9100600. I think I'll open the phone lines as well, just in case you want to call, and you can do that on the same number, 0279-100-600. Okay, Dr. Stella.
Yes, I think it's an important post-festivity topic actually, because we've all made ourselves happy. Yes, we need to remind ourselves. Okay, so let's talk about complications. If you leave the hypertension unmanaged for a long time, that's when you might begin to see symptoms. Okay. And these symptoms can include headaches, dizziness, blurred vision. You can have fast heartbeats, palpitations. Sometimes that's what makes us even diagnose hypertension.
Okay.
So fast heartbeat, chest pain, exercise intolerance. You get tired after very little exertion, sometimes associated with chest pain, sometimes breathlessness. You are breathless after doing something very little that you used to be able to do normally. That could be a sign of hypertension.
Okay.
Swellings, especially of your feet, can be a sign. Sometimes swellings of your tummy area when you sit for a long time can be a sign of hypertension that has been untreated for a long time.
Okay.
So these are also reasons to see your health personnel. Okay. Headaches and palpitations, I think, are common earlier problems.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Wonderful. The number again is 0279 100
Okay. Then let me go on to say that these complications are serious because now they are beginning to tell us that the hypertension is affecting what we call end organs. Okay, so these swellings of the feet may indicate kidney problems. Okay, also swellings of the face can indicate kidney problems. Then they can also indicate that the blood vessels have become weakened and unable to return blood to the heart very efficiently.
Okay.
So now there's stasis, or the fluid is some of the fluid is stagnated in your legs. Okay, which can cause pedal swelling. Having said that, a couple of BP medicines can give you a mild swelling of your ankles, and if you bring that up with your doctor, they can change it so that you it happens for some people. So if you mention it, it can be changed so you have relief but control your blood pressure. So speaking of end organ vessels, we've talked about the blood vessels in the feet, we've talked about kidneys. Eyes, you can have high blood pressure can cause eye disease. Okay, you can have things like retinal detachment, you can have things like retinal bleeds, you can have intraocular pressure is a little different, which is glaucoma. It's not so much linked with hypertension.
Okay.
But
So we have a call. Let's just pick this call and come back. Hello, good morning.
Hello?
Hi, good morning.
Your call has been put on hold.
Hey. Hello.
Your call has...
Okay, I think the person put me on hold by mistake. Hello. Hello. Okay, we'll have to pick another call then.
okay.
Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Hi, good morning. What's your name, please, and where are you coming
Good
from?
morning. Please, I want to ask
Yes, please go ahead. What's your name?
Magdalene.
Magdalene. Okay, Magdalene, please go ahead with your question.
Please, how do you know whether your cholesterol is high or low?
Cholesterol.
Yes, please.
Okay, you can only know with a blood test.
Thank you.
Most labs can do it, so you can do it this year with your annual checkup.
Okay. All right, thank you very much, Magdalene. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning. Is that Sweet Melodies?
Yes, you're on air. What's your name, please?
My name is Charity.
Charity, okay. Charity.
Yeah. My mom checked her blood pressure in the morning.
Mhm.
Sometimes it's as high as 165. But when she checks in the evening or later in the day, it comes down. But usually in the morning, it goes up. I don't know. For a few days now, just about 4 days now.
About 4 days now.
Oh, I see. Is she on BP medicines?
I don't know why it goes up in the morning, but then comes down.
Is she on BP medication?
No.
She's not.
Okay. That happens to some people. For some people, the hypertension is just in the mornings, but it is also hypertension and needs to be treated. Okay, because the blood pressure spikes I've talked about the general long-term complications, but there are also acute things that can happen in hypertension. So once it's gone on for 5 days, I think that you should let her see a doctor. Yes, let's check why her BPs are suddenly creeping up.
Okay.
So we can catch problems early.
Now, we do also get a figure for when it comes down in the evening to compare. So.
Yes, to compare. But the 150s in the morning is significant.
That's high, okay.
We need to have it checked.
Okay.
So please take mommy to the hospital or tell her to go.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. The number again is 0279-100600 for calls and text messages.
Okay.
0279-100-600.
Okay, let me mention that we mentioned complications that sort of come up slowly. Your kidney function will slowly decline. The eye, your vision may slowly decline because of tiny bleeds in the eye.
Yeah.
And you may have swellings of your feet sort of coming up on you slowly. But there are also things that can happen suddenly. Okay, and one of them is the retinal problem I talked about. The eye problems can be chronic or they can be sudden. Okay, then you can suddenly have heart problems. So that's angina, heart pain related to the hypertension, and you can have heart attacks from prolonged hypertension that is untreated. That's when you suddenly have severe tearing heart pain, and usually you will collapse, sweating, dizziness, and severe chest pain, and that can be the sign of a heart attack. And when this happens, it means that some of the heart cells are not getting blood. Okay, and that part of your heart muscle is dying. So it's as if your heart is having a stroke, if you like. Part of it part of your heart muscle suddenly is unable to move. Okay, and we've described that the heart must pump. So if you have a pump and part of it is floppy, it won't be effective, and that can give you problems later on. And if the area affected is large enough, it can actually lead to sudden, very severe complications and even death. Then high blood pressure, untreated over a long time, can cause strokes as well. So it's important that it should be checked. The most difficult side effects of hypertension are these ones that come suddenly and can sort of change your life permanently. Are the big ones that we really want to avoid. So you should get your BPs checked, and you should sort of follow your doctor's instructions, try as much as possible to get to the goal blood pressures that have been set for you. Your medicines may need to be changed. You should allow it to be done, and if there are side effects, bring them up. Let me stop there for a while and talk about some side effects that can come up with your blood pressure medication. Some medicines are designed to make you pass more urine, and that is how they reduce the pressure in your blood vessels. So a side effect may just be passing a lot more urine more frequently. So those medicines usually are taken in the morning so that it doesn't disturb your night sleep. Some people, because of their schedules, take it at night so that it doesn't disturb their morning's work. So those happen. Then another complication that we see sometimes is swelling of the feet. A few specific medicines can cause swelling of your feet. So if you notice that, mention it to your doctor. Anything that bothers you, if you have medicine that makes you urinate and you feel that because of that I avoid taking it maybe 3 times a week, I cannot take it, I only take it 4 times a week, then you are doing yourself a disservice. Let your doctor know and let them change it for you. If it's causing swelling of the feet, talk about it. A few of them may cause erectile dysfunction, not for all people, but for some men. If that is the case, mention it to your doctor. They can make an adjustment so that you can be healthy and not also have the side effects. A few may cause headaches. Mention it to your doctor. A change can be made. And so on.
All right, great. Someone is asking, please, can high unmanaged BP affect your hearing?
Yes, not so often, but yes, because the ear also has blood vessels supplying it, and also although it's not classically one of the affected things. If you consider that blood pressure may cause strokes or may cause reduction in blood flow in some parts of the brain, then once that happens in a blood vessel that can affect your ear, then it can affect your hearing. Yes.
Okay, wonderful. This one says, good morning, great topic. Please, how do you know if you have high blood pressure? Are there any signs?
No, blood
said
pressure
that at the
is
beginning.
silent. Yes, so you shouldn't.
You usually have to check to know, right?
Yes, you just have to check your blood pressure. So if you're an adult, please make sure that you check your blood pressure periodically. Okay. Every time you walk into a hospital, maybe once a month, or anytime you have to walk into a pharmacy to buy something, just have them check it for you.
Okay. All right. Please, can you get stroke from high BP?
Uncontrolled high BP, yes.
Okay. All right. I think I've exhausted all the questions. This is unrelated. So yeah.
Okay.
Thank you all very much for texting in and calling in. I think we've had a good show.
585. Okay, so if you're approaching 40, if you're approaching 90, start doing the things that we've said.
I said online a while ago, and some people even said 120/90.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's perfect blood pressure,
Okay.
So once you're getting there, start checking those things. Reduce your salt, reduce your fat intake, do more vegetables, to get some exercise, help yourself to lower the blood pressure to start with, and keep checking. See your doctor so that if something is making the BPs creep up, we'll find it early.
Okay.
I talked earlier about baselines. It's good to just know my blood pressure is always 120. Suddenly it's 130 or 135 all the time. See your health provider and let them be sure you're okay. Let me just finally mention that some people have low BPs. Every time BP is checked, people say, hey, your BP is very low. So take coffee, eat more salt, and all those things. I don't advise that because it means that you're training an unhealthy habit.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
I would probably say drink more water.
Okay,
and then leave it as it is. You've grown to this age with that BP and you've been okay. So just be aware of it. An important thing too is that by the time you hit this 140/90 that we are saying, your BP has gone up very high. So you should know your baseline, and if your systolic is always 105, it's important that you know that. Then by the time you're hitting 120 or 135, you've gone up 30 points. Let your doctor know that is hypertension. Okay. So that is important for those with low blood pressures. So my final, check your blood pressure once a month.
Number to call after the show if you have any questions or you want to book an appointment to speak with a doctor, to see a doctor. The number is 020-018-2692. Okay, that's 020-018-2692. My name is Kweku Sampson. This has been Dr. Who. Thank you very much, Dr. Stella, once again for joining us.
Thank you.
In the studios. Next week, God will come your way again with another wonderful discussion. Until then, stay healthy. Have a good afternoon.
Impartation and expectation. Sweet melodies, 94.3. Yes, we love you, so we please you every day. Sweet melodies, 94.3. Sweet melodies, 94.3.
It's midday. Good afternoon. There's a Sweet Melodies Major News Bulletin coming to you from our studios, 111 Pilots Loop, North Kaneshi. We're live also on www.sweetmelodiesfm.com. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and X, Sweet Melodies FM. I am Kweku Sampson. Coming up in this bulletin of the news, Agri-Cattle Lakeside Estate versus Tasa Tafa Supreme Court rules on ownership. Also in local news, our champion improved maternity leave, says Na Mumu Lati. In international news, a trend pardoned Silk Road dark web market creator Ross Ubridge. And Turkey mourns hotel fire dead as efforts to identify them continue. Also bringing news from the world of sports. Now the news in detail. Start off with local news. The Supreme Court of Ghana has unanimously affirmed the Agri-Cattle Lakeside Estate Limited as the rightful owner of 2,911.53 acres of land at Katamanso in the Greater Accra region. The landmark ruling by a 5-member panel led by Chief Justice Gertrude Saki Tokonu validates the company's ownership based on land title certificate number TD0513 issued from a grant by the Nungwa School. The case was initiated by Tasa Tafa Tasa, who claimed to have acquired the land in 2004 through a 99-year lease from the Glenway family of La Accra. Tasa stated that his search at the Lands Commission in 2008 revealed the land was registered to Land and Housing Limited, prompting him to regularize his acquisition by returning tenancy to the registered owner. The Minister-designate for Gender, Children and Social Protection, Agnes Namumulate, has promised to resolve the payment delays faced by caterers under the government's school feeding program. Her assurance comes amid growing concerns over unpaid arrears and the quality of meals provided to school children. During her vetting by the Appointments Committee today, Namumu assured Ghanaians to address these challenges and ensuring an effective implementation of the program. Namumu underscored her collective approach and promised to engage stakeholders in open dialogue to find lasting solutions. President John Dramani Mahama has appointed former Executive Secretary of the Small Arms Commission, Jones Bote Apple, as Acting Chief Executive Officer of Gehok Distilleries. His appointment is pending receipt of the constitutionally required advice of the Governing Board given in consultation with the Public Services Commission. Mr. Appler's appointment takes effect from January 21st, 2025. In a statement issued by the Executive Secretary to the President, Dr. Callistus Mahama, the President extended his congratulations to Mr. Appler. We'll be back shortly with international news after this break. Do stay with us.
Staying informed with worldwide news is now just a click away. Log on to www.sweetmelodiesfm.com and keep yourself posted.
Harvest Chapel International presents the Prophetic Encounter Week. 7 days of interaction with the Holy Spirit in prayer, praise, worship, and the Word in an atmosphere of fellowship. Theme: Releasing the Power of Fellowship. Ministering our God's servants, Reverend Kingsley Ajay Adjuman. House of Consecration, Prophet Samuel Addison. Eagles House Chapel International, Prophet Francis Kwam, Freedom Life Outreach and Prayer Ministries, and Reverend Dr. Kojo Bempa, Holy Hill Chapel Assemblies of God. Your The host is Reverend Fitzgerald Odonko. The Prophetic Encounter Week takes place at the Tehila Temple, Harvest Chapel International, South Atesano, from Monday 27 January to Sunday 2nd February 2025 at 6 p.m. each night, from Monday to Friday and 9 a.m. on Sunday. There will be a prayer convocation on Saturday 1st February from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Song ministrations will be by the Harvest Gospel Choir, Luigi McLean, Enonyam, Esther Godwill, Marie Lissom, and Sandy. Come worshiping, praying, and praising that we may hear what the Spirit has for us. See you there.
The news is also live across the globe on www.sweetmelodiesfm.com.
You're welcome back. In international news, U.S. President Donald Trump says he has assigned a full and unconditional pardon for Ross Ulbricht, who operated Silk Road, the dark web marketplace where illegal drugs were sold. Ulbricht was convicted in 2015 in New York in a narcotics and money laundering conspiracy and sentenced to life in prison. Trump posted on his Truth Social platform that he had called Ulbricht's mother to inform her that he had granted a pardon to her son. Silk Road, which was shut down in 2013 after police arrested Ulbricht, sold illegal drugs using Bitcoin as well as hacking equipment and stolen passports. A day of mourning is underway in Turkey for the 76 victims of a fire that engulfed a popular ski resort hotel in the country's northwest. The fire broke out at the wooden-clad 12-story Grand Kartal Hotel at 3:27 local time, that is 12:27 GMT, during a busy holiday period when 234 people were staying there. It took 12 hours to put out. An investigation has been launched into the incident, and there have been conflicting reports about whether the hotel was up to safety standards. 9 people have been arrested, including the hotel's owner. President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, who is expected to visit Bolu on Wednesday, said those responsible for negligence leading to the fire will be held accountable. Flags are flying at half-mast across Turkey in memory of the victims of the fire, while the first funerals are being held. Search and rescue teams are making their final efforts at finding any remaining bodies. South Korea will change the concrete barriers used for navigation at 7 airports across the country following December's plane crash that killed 179 people. 7 airports will also have their runway safety areas adapted following a review of all South Korea's airports that was carried out by the crash, the deadliest in the country's history. The Jeju Air flight was bringing passengers home from Thailand after Christmas when it made an emergency landing at Maon Airport and exploded after slamming into a concrete barrier at the end of the runway. The cause of the crash is still unknown, but air safety experts had earlier said the number of casualties could have been much lower if not for the structure. We'll be back shortly with news from the world of sports after this break.
Your number one choice for up-to-date news. Sweet Melodies 94.3 on air and online at www.sweetmelodiesfm.com.
The stories unfold.
2 days ago, they caught my rider.
Oh my goodness.
What is his reason?
The rider is not wearing quality jackets.
They said we should pay a fine of 100 cedis. My precious lady was like, if I pay you 100 cedis, what money am I going to use to buy the quality
jackets?
Right, but beyond them, I think the competition is wild.
Each life fraught with challenges, and yet they brave the storms to keep their heads up on the entrepreneurial terrain.
I had to get experience and knowledge about how to build. So I was actually going for labor jobs. I go there and the guy's like, nah, once I will be a bit. So go back. Yes.
Oh, Charlie.
Yes, we're actually plastering a home and it was tiring. But through the process, I was learning.
They are young, yet bold and brave, Tune in to Bold and Brave, the Young Entrepreneur Show this and every Thursday, 11 a.m. here on Sweet Melodies 94.3 FM. Be inspired, bold and brave, propelling you on to greater entrepreneurial heights.
From the world of tennis to the world of cycling, golf to football. Stay tuned to Sweet Melodies News for all the latest updates in the world of sports.
You're welcome back. In news from the world of sports, starting off with tennis, Ben Shelton reached his first Australian Open semi-final with a battling win over Lorenzo Sonego that took just under 4 hours. The big serving American won 6-4, 7-5, 4-6, 7-6, 7-4 and will face either defending champion Jannik Sinner or home hope Alex de Minaur for a place in the Melbourne final. Shelton, 22, eased into a 2-set lead on Rod Laver Arena, but dropped his level enough to allow Italy's Sonego to force a fourth set. The two were well matched in the set, with both playing some entertaining points before Shelton's strong serving helped pull him away in the resulting tie-break. Shelton, who clocked a tournament joint fastest 144 miles per hour serve during the match, said he was relieved to have gotten through. And finally, in this bulletin of the news, USA defender Naomi Girma has agreed terms to join Chelsea on a long-term deal for a world record transfer. The fee is believed to be the most expensive transfer for a female footballer in the region of £900,000. That's $1.1 million, and exceeding the $685,000 Bay FC paid for Zambia's Rachel Kujumanji in February 2024. It would also see the 24-year-old become the first women's $1 million player. Women's Super League champions Chelsea were in a tussle with French giants Lyon for her signature, with Girma widely regarded as one of the best players in the world. She is set to leave San Diego Wave, now managed by former Arsenal boss Jonas Eidevall, and will become manager Sonia Bompasta's 1st January signing at the club. And that's it for this bulletin of the news. Before we go, look again at our main news stories. In local news, the Supreme Court of Ghana has unanimously affirmed Agric Cattle Lakeside Estates Limited as the rightful owner of 2,911.53 acres of land at Katamanso in the Greater Accra region. On the international scene, U.S. President Donald Trump says he has signed a full and unconditional pardon for Ross Ulbricht, who operated Silk Road, the dark web marketplace where illegal drugs were sold. And finally, in sports, Ben Shelton reached his first Australian Open semi-final with a battling win over Lorenzo Sonego that took just under 4 hours. Sweet Melodies News, I am Kweku Sampson. Thanks for your company. Have a good afternoon.
Sweet melodies, full of love and filled with harmony. Sister, don't explain it. Living 94.3 FM. Sweet melodies, sweet melodies. 94.3 FM. This is the doing of the Lord. My eyes have seen the goodness of the Lord. I can't explain His mercies every day. Testimonies all around. This is the doing of the Lord.